The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to TechGig webinar series, our endeavor to empower techies. We believe that sharing of knowledge is the key to enhance our skills and grow us as professionals. With this principle in mind, we have initiated a series of webinars conducted by industry experts to give you all a crisp insight of various domains. The topic of today's session is 100% information security a myth? And our guest speaker today is S.R. Kannan. He's the Global Head Security Services with Mindtree Limited. S.R. Kannan has a total of 14 years of experience in the information security domain. He has worked for CIFI Limited, Tata Communications, Verizon Business, and helped them build their security services business. Over the past decade, he has built high-performance teams in the areas of business development, channel management, security technology deployment, security consulting services, and security operations center management. In Mindtree, he is right now in the process of building the security services business by partnering with the various IGs and delivery teams within Mindtree. So, without further delay, I introduce you all to our guest speaker. Over to you, Kannan.
Thank you, Aradhana. Good evening, friends. Thanks for logging in. The subject I am going to deal with, as you know, is a high interest subject these days with both business as well as individual interactions related activities increasingly moving to the web and internet becoming the tool of choice for most of us. Enterprises are grappling with the question, how effectively can you secure your information and your data? Is 100% information security possible, or is it a myth? That is the subject we are going to discuss today and see how enterprises and individuals can better secure their data and information. I'm sure all of you are reading newspapers, magazines, and various websites where these exploits are being published on a daily basis. The latest being Target, which is a retail chain in the US, lost hundreds of thousands of credit card customers' data to hackers, and such data can be used for e-commerce transactions illegally. Similarly, we know LinkedIn some time back sent an email to 3/4 of their customers requesting them to change their password because they were worried the passwords of majority of their customers had been compromised. I'm just giving two examples here. The examples, as you know, are in the hundreds. Another example of a high-profile person getting hit. Imagine Sonia Gandhi's website getting defaced. Recently, Mr. Kapil Sibal's website was defaced. So imagine the loss of image for these people. They are all very high-profile people, very powerful people the whole world knows about. And if their website goes down for a couple of hours, or if their website is defaced, just imagine the loss of image for them. So whether it be stealing credit card data or ensuring your image is defaced, hackers are resorting to many malicious activities which can really damage the enterprise or the individual concerned. This is an example I am presenting of a guy. I don't know how many of you have heard of Kevin Mitnick. he was a very popular hacker in the 1990s. Many of you might have read, or some of you might have read about his exploits. Some of his high-profile exploits included he hacked into Pentagon's payroll system. Imagine how difficult it will be to hack into a payroll system of any enterprise. And he managed to hack into Pentagon's payroll system. Pentagon, as you know, is the US security enterprise, the US defense enterprise. Defense operations of US are run from the Pentagon. And imagine someone managing to enter the payroll system of that enterprise. He routinely stole source code from big enterprises like Sun and made number of unauthorized entries into the network of number of high-profile institutions like Microsoft, Nokia, etc. So while some of you might have read about these exploits, one question I want to ask. He was so dangerous, the FBI had him arrested. The FBI went to a court and got an order banning him from going near a computer for 3 years, because the FBI established he is extremely dangerous if he starts accessing a computer. So the court said he is not supposed to go anywhere near a computer for 3 years. Imagine getting a restraining order from going near a computer. That's what the FBI did to restrain Kevin Mitnick. But going back to the question I asked earlier, how did he do it? Because to gain access into the payroll system of the security enterprise of US is not easy. So what is the technique? Did he use some high-tech software to carry out these exploits? What the FBI found out was it actually wasn't as high-tech as they imagined it to be. It was far simpler. He used a technique called social engineering. Despite being a technical wizard, for him to get the credentials to enter these secure networks, what he did was he used to call into these enterprises, act as the technical help desk guy, calling from that enterprise's technical help desk, say hi to the employee and tell the employee malicious activity has been noticed in that employee's system. So they are checking what is happening, for which they need that employee's user ID password. And you won't believe it, most employees parted with their user ID password to Kevin Mitnick, who was masquerading as a technical help desk engineer of that organization. So once he got these user ID passwords, he could log into any system he wanted. And that is how he went into these highly secure networks and systems and played havoc. I don't know how many of you have read this recent exploit by an unknown person. Now, Bitcoin is increasingly gaining relevance and popularity as a currency to be used in the internet world by bidding for it and using it for transactions. The largest Bitcoin exchange has closed down and declared bankruptcy a week back. It's called MTGOX. The reason they have done that is they have been subject of a denial of service attack and their website has been brought down. So they cannot conduct their business because somebody has entered their site, and you won't believe it, stolen 3/4 billion worth of Bitcoins. So this apparently transacted 60% of Bitcoin in transactions worldwide. So in one exploit, they have stolen 3/4 billion worth of Bitcoins and they have closed down the largest exchange for bitcoins in the world. This is a very, very recent exploit, a week old. Some exploits I have shared with you. There are also some exploits which you guys would have read. I don't know how many of you read the great Test cricketer VVS Lakshman lost 10 lakhs of rupees 1 month back when someone entered his bank account and transferred that money to a Calcutta bank account. Ultimately, using the cyber trail, that thief was caught. So like that, there are numerous examples many of you are aware of. So all these exploits, is there actually a common thread running through these exploits? What is the common thread? And what is the role of the CXO level officers, the CEO, the CIO, the CFO in mitigating such activities, ensuring their websites, their data, their information is kept secure? A trend which has been noticed over the past few years. Earlier, these hackers were just doing it for fun. They just used to bring down a system and then bring it up again. They didn't do it for gaining money, gaining popularity, or for any other malicious reason. But what is happening now? I told you the example of the Bitcoin exchange. I gave you the example of Target's website being targeted, credit card information being stolen. So what is now being seen is these hackers are professionals who are intent on real damage, damaging businesses, bringing down businesses, ensuring that commerce is affected in the internet world. They are increasingly also targeting up to the desktop. Imagine your desktop, your laptop, your endpoint being hacked into and your personal information being stolen from it. Imagine your personal pictures, your family pictures being taken away from your laptop and morphed and put in some public website, extent to which your image will get affected, and those exploits have started. No more are hackers just sticking to the perimeter or to just the servers. They are able to get into deeper, even up to the laptop level of individual employees. This is increasingly happening because, as you know, employees are using different types of devices to access data, like mobile phones, like iPads. Employees are accessing data from any part of their city, any part of their country, and the threats that we are witnessing are also becoming increasingly complicated. But have you ever wondered why some of these are happening? Why increasingly we are being subject to such threats? What has been established is increasingly disruptive technologies are becoming order of the day. One real example which we have seen is ATM. ATM is a disruptive technology. It helped banks distribute monies very quickly around the corner from where the customer is living. Most of you listening to this webinar, I'm sure, have been born and brought up by using ATMs right from an early age, whereas some people like me were used to visiting the bank branch to collect money from our account. ATM came into play when I was in my 30s. So till I reached my 30s, I used to go to the bank branch to collect money. So what did that ensure? That ensured the money I collected from the bank branch could never be stolen. I used to put it in my wallet, come out, get onto my bike or car and drive home. But whereas ATMs, what has that led to? While it has made it convenient, it has led to attacks in ATMs. Some of you have been seeing specific footage, CCTV footage of a lady being attacked in Bangalore, another guy being attacked in Bombay, and money being stolen from them. See, that is a typical example of a risk opening up because of a new technology which is convenient but leading to a risk. So companies, when they are introducing such technologies, many of them are not even aware of what are the risks that are being opened up. Particularly, companies are not aware of high impact, low frequency risks. The example of the Bitcoin exchange. Imagine what is a high impact risk? That Bitcoin exchange faced one attack, $750 million was stolen. Period. The exchange has been shut down and they have declared bankruptcy. So that's the example of a high impact, low frequency. Low frequency because probably it will happen once, but when it happens, the company shuts down. That is how dangerous high impact, low frequency risks can be. And normally enterprises don't factor for it in their security measures and their plans for securing their data. Companies similarly do not factor for interrelationships between different types of risks. See the example of the ATM I gave you. So operationally it made it convenient. So operationally they opened it up for customers to access. But that opened up a risk, which is a physical risk of the customer being accosted and money being stolen from the customer inside the ATM. Like that, e-commerce, internet transactions being allowed, very, very convenient for you and me. But what is the risk that is thrown up because of that? Somebody can easily access your user ID password and ensure they carry out transactions masquerading as you and siphon away lakhs of rupees from your account. So when you open up new services, you also need to be aware of what are the different types of risks that you're opening up and factor for them and ensure security around them. Very important, most companies believe a firewall here, an antivirus there, and security story is complete. I have ensured I put Cisco technology as far as the firewall is concerned. I put McAfee or Norton as far as antivirus is concerned. And as I've got the best technology, I am secure. Nothing can be done against me. But that is an extremely fallacious line of thought, because the example of Kevin Mitnick, which I gave you, he called to the Pentagon, masqueraded as Pentagon's technical help desk employee, and managed to get user ID password from some highly secure Pentagon employees. Why did that happen? Because people working in Pentagon were not trained to safeguard their credentials. So most cases enterprises do not factor for how the person behind the system can do things which can bring down their network or lead to hacking of their network. So what really is required to ensure close to total security of data and information is, other than technology, you also need to have the right people, well-trained people, and process in place. A simple example, a firewall is required to protect your perimeter, but you also need to have a process to keep looking at the policies you have built into your firewall and keeping them dynamic, keeping them updated. Unless you have a process for that, the policies can become outdated and someone can hack into and steal data. So that's how important process is important in management of your security. So while installation of good technology is very important, you also need to optimize the functioning of that by aligning people, process, and technology with the security vision you